Little Victory Sports Cards here, and now you can put a face to the voice. Today I have a fun and extremely painful video for you. I got a couple of my higher-end PC cards out of my vault for this video, and I'll be highlighting my top 10 worst in my hobby career, which is like 20 years, worst investments, decisions I've made, ones that haunt me. You know, I've also made some good investments, obviously, but it's human nature to remember the bad. So a few of the highlights will be selling my favorite best childhood pole. I probably sold it late high school or, you know, early college for pretty much nothing. Maybe like beer money and girlfriends or textbooks. I don't know. And then also the time I left $200,000 on the table by not selling a card during the peak pandemic craze. That one haunts me as well, and it sucks because that was one of my favorite cards, so now I can barely look at it. So this video really should be called, you know, I hope my wife's not watching this. So sit back and enjoy. We'll start with number 10. As always, thank you so much for viewing this video. All right, number 10 is the 1994 Upper Deck Griffey Mantle dual autograph. This one has a fun and cool story behind it. So it was the best pull of my childhood. I still can't believe I did it. It was back in probably 1995 or 96. I was about 12 years old and in the peak of my collecting. And I remember it clearly. We were at Kmart, and there were these, at the end of the aisle, these value boxes that were kind of discounted. And one of the boxes was the 1994 Upper Deck. I think it was probably like 12 or 13 bucks. And my parents bought it for me. And on the way home, I remember it being dark out. I went ahead and asked if I could open it in the car, and I opened the box, and I think it was like the 4th or 5th pack, and it was dark in the car too, so I could barely see, but I knew it was something special. And it came with a separate authenticity card too, and I couldn't believe it. I showed my parents, and they couldn't believe it either. And I kept it probably for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, until I sold my original, the one I pulled. I really wish I had it back, the exact card back. I sold it, you know, later high school or early college when I just needed money for, I don't know, life. Like I said, girls and school and beer and fun stuff. I really wish I wouldn't have. I think I sold it for around probably $500 or $600 at the time. You know, that seemed like a lot at, you know, in 2001 when I was younger. But ever since, I always regretted it. And finally, during the pandemic, I was making a lot of money like everyone else. The prices of cards were insane. I was selling high and doing great, and I finally had enough money to buy another one and, you know, put it in the PC and not have to sell it again. So here it is. This is the copy I bought. So yeah, I bought it kind of during the peak, but I still think I got a decent deal. I bought it for $6,500. It's authenticated by PSA. I looked at the current value, and it looks like it held its value, which is good because pretty much almost every card has dropped since the peak of pandemic. So I'm glad I ended up buying this one. I think it's right around 7,000 now, so kind of right where I bought it at. Really a true iconic card, and I love the idea that they both touched this card, you know, a hand-signed Ron card. And you know what makes this even better is the two best autographs, just the look of their autographs, I think are these two players. I just love their autographs. And this one's pretty nice and bold, and the condition's pretty good. Honestly, if they put a grade on it, it looks like it'd be like an 8. So yeah, here it is. This is my number 10 mistakes, because, you know, I always will regret selling this card when I was younger, the one I pulled, but I got it back, and I am thankful for that. All right, well, let's move on to number 9. All right, number 9 is the 1996 Kobe Bryant Topps Chrome rookie card. And this card has had an adventure over the past 3 years in the hobby. So this will always go down as one of my regrets selling. It wasn't this card. I had a PSA Gem Mint 10 in this card that I sold on, it looks like I sold it in July of 2019. So, you know, before the pandemic and before he passed away. I mean, no one could have predicted those things. It's sad. Both of those are very sad. But I sold my copy, my PSA 10 copy, for around $1,800, which at the time was the highest a Kobe PSA 10 Chrome had ever sold for. And it had absolutely no greening. Usually you're going to get a lot of greening around his bicep and this guy's leg. I'm trying to think who that is. Cherokee Parks, maybe? But anyway, so I, you know, when the peak of the pandemic, I saw the PSA 10 selling for insane values. It looks like the high it sold for was $49,000. $49,000 at the very high. And now you'll not believe what it is now. It looks like the last sale is around $5,000. Wow, that drop is incredible. That's crazy. But probably about a year ago, I regretted, you know, not owning one, so I went ahead and bought this PSA 9. It had minimal greening, which I liked. You know, it has some on his leg. And it was fairly centered. I think I paid around $2,000, which was a decent deal at the time, but now I think the 9s are selling for around, I don't know, $1,400. So took a little hit, but that's okay. This is a PC card now. I'll keep it in my collection. So there it is, the Kobe Bryant rookie. I'll do another quick one in this one, so it'll be 9B, just because I want to highlight this card. It's insane, the price drop on these ones too. And they were Hall of Fame inductees together. The Tim Duncan 97, just the flagship basic rookie cards. So a long time ago on Four Sharp Corners, probably like 5 years ago, I bought 12 PSA 10 copies for like 18 bucks each. And I just stuck them in a box, and I thought, hey, I'm going to sell them when he is a Hall of Famer, when he gets inducted. So they were there forever. And then I saw during the pandemic, when it just started, the market started heating up, I saw that they were selling for, they were increasing. They were selling for over $100 each. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just get them out and sell them. So I started selling them slowly. It started at 125, and they started selling like crazy, 150, 200, 225, until finally I sold them all out, all for under 225. And then I kept noticing the market, they kept going up on these common cards, the PSA 10s. And I looked at the high it sold for was $1,700. This card in a 10 sold for $1,700 in the peak of pandemic, which is absurd. It's absurd. So I always regretted not selling them at higher, you know. But what makes this even crazier is the price of the PSA 10s now. I looked. They're selling for, the last one sold for $96. Wow, that's a drop. It's absurd. All right, so that's my number 9, A and B. Let's move on to number 8. All right, number 8 is some of my all-time favorite football rookie cards, and it's from the 1984 set. It is the John Elway and Dan Marino rookie cards. So back in the day, this was my favorite card set to collect, the 84 Topps. You know, probably 10, 15 years ago, I was really heavily trying to complete the set in a PSA 10, all of them. You know, I did complete the set, and I'd say 60% of them I had in Gem 10s. But I needed money to buy my first home in around 2012, maybe. Somewhere around there. So I had to sell my whole set. It was sad, and I did have these 2 copies in PSA 10s. So it looks like in 2012, I sold the Elway for $880. So that hurts. That really hurts. And he's a little harder than Marino to get in a Gem 10. And now it looks like they are selling for about... looks like they're selling for around $6,000, so they've dropped a lot. I might even try to pick one up when I earn some more money. Because at the peak, it looks like at the peak they sold for $19,000, so big price drop on that one. So yeah, I was always sad I sold that one. The Marino I sold for $725 as a PSA 10. Back in same year, 2012. Looks like they're going for around $4,500 right now in a PSA 10. Right around there, $4,500 to $5,000. Their peak was, it looks like their peak at $9,000. So it's dropped a little bit too. But I did, over the years, I kept my favorite PSA 9 copies of them. I mean, look how sharp. Look how sharp this one is. If it didn't have that one little white mark, it would be a 10. I love this card. And the Elway's so sharp too. Look at that. Every once in a while I crack it open and see if I can grade it as a 10, but it keeps coming back a 9, so that's okay. I'll just keep it. And that is my number 8 regret. Number 7 is probably the most iconic Air card of all time. It is the 1989 Billy Ripken FF Air. So the F face, it's the bad word on the bat knob. You can see it. Man, this card is iconic. So the story behind this that I always regretted, you know, that was probably 10, 15 years ago. I bought a case, a factory case of sets of this 1989 Fleer sets. And it was all sealed, and I went ahead and busted it open, and I noticed that 3 or 4 of the sets had a different variation of this Billy Ripken card. All the other ones had just the most common version of this card is just a black box covered over this. But I think it was 3 or 4 of the sets had this white kind of scribble blur out, whiteout, and I knew it had to be rare. So I looked it up, and it was the kind of the whiteout version. And one of them looked perfect, like gem mint. The other ones looked mint too. So I went ahead and sent them to PSA, all 3 or 4 of them. And I think maybe 2 got 9s, 1 got an 8, and 1 got a 10. And the 10 I was just going to PC, and but I needed money. So I sold it auction style on eBay. I used to sell auction style. And it only sold, I remember being so upset that day it sold, you know, because I'm a man of my word. I'll always sell it for what it sells for, you know. I won't cancel auction or whatever, try to get out of the deal. I'll always ship it out. And it looks like I sold it for $330, a PSA 10 whiteout. And I sold that in, looks like 2011 for that much. So very sad about that I sold it. Ever since that day, it bugged me so much that it sold for so low that I will not sell auction style. I just won't. If you see on my eBay, I'll always do fixed price, but I'll always offer best offers, so you can feel free to make offers on anything. So yeah, so I haven't been able to buy back another PSA 10 wideout. I think they're going probably for around 2,500 is my guess in a PSA 10. Their high probably was 4,000 or 5,000. You know, it could have been high, maybe around 4,000. So eventually I'll buy one back. I'll get it. But that will always go down as one of my regrets. All right, number 6 is another fun card. It is the 1993 SP Derek Jeter foil. Another true iconic card. So back in 2011, I got a copy graded by Beckett, and it got a 9.5. So it's not this card, obviously. It got a Gem Mint 9.5, and I couldn't believe the grade. I was so happy, and I knew at the time if I sold it, it was going to be probably the highest value card I had ever sold up to that point. So it looks like I sold it in 2011 for $2,000. At the time, that was a lot of money for me. I needed it for life. But I always regretted it, especially during when I saw the prices of it during the peak pandemic. Oh man, my stomach dropped. Looks like the high was $40,000 it sold for. $40,000. It's nuts. And now it's dropped substantially, you know. It's now, looks like the last one sold for around $15,000. So still high. Very much higher than the $2,000 I sold it for. But the price drops from the peak is just insane to me. And everyone, the influencers always said the GOATs will be protected, you know. They won't drop as much. But look at that. The Jeters, the LeBrons, the Kobes, the Tom Brady's, all of them. All the higher end cards have dropped on those ones. So, you know, nothing's safe from a bubble burst. But, you know, I still think these will retain its value. I don't think they'll go any lower, in my opinion, and they'll go back up. Yeah, they're true iconic cards. So I went ahead and bought a VGS 8 copy. It's all I wanted to spend on a replacement at this point. So, but it's still a nice looking copy. There you go. Man, this is such a condition sensitive card. Look at all the white chipping. Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 5. All right, number 5 is the 2003 Giannis Prism rookie card. This one has had a wild ride in the hobby too, value-wise. So this one is a PSA 9, but I had a PSA 10. This did a lot of people, I'm sure, but it bugs me for some reason, having sold it. So it looks like I sold my PSA 10 copy for $200, only $200 in 2019, February of 2019. So well before the craze boom, and it looks like the high price during the boom was almost $7,000, and the wow, that can't be right. It looks like the low, which is right now, is $1,200, $1,300. Are they really going for that low? I might pick one up. So look at that drop. It's a big price drop. So I know they produced a lot of these, but it's still a fun card. And I sold probably back in 2018, 2019, I sold a lot of his stuff. It looks like I sold his 2013 SP Authentic autograph PSA 10. I remember getting it graded myself, submitting it, and it looks like I sold it for $200. That one for $200 too. An auto PSA 10. So that hurts. Oh yeah, it says January of 2017 I sold it for that. So Giannis, I don't have a ton of his stuff in my PC right now. I probably will. The prices are pretty low. I'll probably pick up some stuff currently. I mean, he's surefire Hall of Famer. One of the greats. He'll go down as one of the greats. There you go. We are on number 4. And number 4 is the Patrick Mahomes Prism rookie card from 2017. And, oh man, this one hurts. It stings. So I don't prospect a lot. Honestly, I don't have the stomach for it. I don't know how you guys do it, especially with these current quarterbacks. I'm seeing so many, especially the young collectors, you know, investing so much money in Trevor Lawrence and Fields and Trey Lance and, you know, all those people. And honestly, I just don't, I don't see it. It's a huge risk. But occasionally you're going to get the quarterbacks that succeed. And Mahomes was one of them. Like I said, I don't prospect. So I did not prospect Mahomes. You know, I didn't collect any of his cards really. But a long time ago, he had his first good week, and I rummaged through my 2017 Prism cards, and I saw one of his rookies, and it looked perfect. So I graded it, and it got a gem mint 10. But I didn't have much affinity for him at the time, so I went ahead and sold it. And it looks like I sold the PSA 10 copy of Patrick Mahomes. I sold it for $62. $62 in September of 2018. Oh, that hurts. That one really hurts. Especially when you look at the peak price. Let's see. The highest it sold for was $15,000 at its peak. $15,000, and I sold it for $62. That hurts. It looks like now they're selling for around $3,300, $3,400. So they've gone down a lot, but still pretty high price. This one is also, what makes it even worse is the one I graded as a PSA 10 was so nice. It was the nicest one I've ever seen. It didn't even have the, see this right here? Most of them have this factory blemish. It's just a factory blemish. I'd say most of them. There it is. Again, see it? So, and they're usually off-centered, a little heavy on the right. As you can see on these ones, these were nice copies, but they had the blemish or off-centered. So I really wish I would have had that PSA 10 back, especially for $62. So there you go. I currently own the Prism autograph rookies of his, but I keep that in the PC. I also, looks like I sold, in December of 2018, I sold his Prism Auto rookie for, looks, $360. So that's how low they were back then. Ugh, that hurts. All right, let's move on. All right, we're on to number 3. And no, number 3 is so limited and rare that I couldn't even have a copy. I don't have a copy. I sold it, and it's sad. I'm going to put it up right there. It is the 2003 Upper Deck LeBron James rookie card, but it is the gold, numbered out of 100. Only 100 copies of his rookie card. And, oh man, this was a fun card for me. One of the collectors I used to buy from at the card shows in Portland, he had it in his collection, and I wanted it so bad, but he was not going to part with it, and I don't blame him. And it looked sharp. It looked like at least a 9. It was raw. It was raw. He didn't like to grade cards. So I went ahead. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. He loved dollar boxes, 50-cent boxes, quarter boxes. So I went ahead in, it was before the pandemic, probably in like 2017 or 2018. I offered him, I think it was $2,500 in dollar cards, quarter cards, 50-cent cards. It was like 20 shoe boxes full of them in hard cases. And he accepted, and I kept the card for a while. I got it graded. It graded a BGS Beckett 9. It was sharp looking card. I think I sold it. So it looks like I sold it May of 2020. So really a month or two after the whole pandemic hit. Honestly, I thought the hobby would go the other way. We had the pandemic hit and we had no sports. I was worried about that. And, people were getting sick. It was scary. And, but no, the card market boomed. Everyone was home, had extra money to spend, couldn't go on trips. They used it to buy their childhood love, sports cards. So, but I didn't see that happening. So I thought I needed money. So I sold this the LeBron I had, for $3,500 on eBay. And at the time, it felt like a lot of money. But I was very sad I sold that. It looks like I've been trying to find another one, and another one sold about a couple months ago on eBay for around $5,500. I put a bid in of $5,400. I lost it. I was really sad. I was bummed, so I got to wait for another one to pop up. But it's going to take a while. So always regretted selling that card. Yeah. All right, we're almost getting down to it, almost to that number one. But first, we have number 2. And again, I don't even have the card. I haven't replaced it yet. I regret selling it, though. It is the 2009 playoff contenders Steph Curry autograph. So these are fun numbers. It looks like in 2013, February of 2013, I bought that autograph for $28. $28. Can you imagine buying a Steph Curry autograph for $28? The Contenders rookie. Early in his career, he had a lot of injuries, so his cards were low for the first 3 or 4 years of his career. And sadly, it looks like I flipped that one I bought for $28. I flipped it the next month I sold it for $56. So over the years, I've had a lot of Curry autos and Topps Chrome. That's another card that's also in this number 2. But I also had another Contenders PSA 9 autograph Curry, which I sold for $600 in 2017. So I've come across a lot of them, and I never have kept. I've never PC'd Stephen Curry. I should have. Honestly, this is a good tip. Don't not collect someone or invest in someone because you don't like them. For some reason, I didn't like his arrogance. I wasn't a fan of Curry. I just wasn't. Same with Kobe, and mainly because I was a Blazer fan. Kobe would destroy the Blazers, like daggers to my heart. Game winners, always against the Blazers. So, I just didn't like Kobe, and I should have. I never PC'd Kobe because, I just didn't like him. But that's not a reason, especially if you're in it for investing. Even if you don't like someone, still go ahead and collect, especially if they're going to be good. Especially the arrogant guys. Those are the guys that will be the best, usually. So yeah, the Topps Chrome Curry, the one numbered out of 999. I've had 3 or 4 of those over the years. Looks like I sold them for anywhere between $600 to $1,000 between 2017 and 2019. That's sad. Now it looks like they are going for right around $10,000 for 11,000 for a PSA 9. Looks like the high for a PSA 9 Chrome Curry was at the peak $25,000. So yeah, definitely regret that. And the Contenders that I talked about earlier, the Contenders auto, looks like they sell for around $7,000 for a PSA 9. So that hurts. That stings. I won't make that mistake again. I will collect Curry. All right, on to number 1. This one's a good one. It's a doozy. I might need a beer for this one. All right, you ready for number one? So, number one is kind of a double-edged sword here. It's my best investment I ever made, and also the worst decision I've ever made. It is the 2003 Topps Chrome LeBron James Refractor rookie card. Oh man, this has a story behind it. I mean, look at the centering. This is such a nice copy. So I bought this card, this exact card. I bought it in April of 2010. Kind of when the economy was depressed a little bit. I bought it for $470. $470. Can you imagine buying this card for that? And so I didn't grow up with money. You know, we were middle class, and so I didn't have a ton of money to start my career in this hobby. So when I got nicer cards like this in my collection, eventually I had to sell it. You know, I needed money for life, so I would sell all my nicer cards. And thankfully, I kept this one. There were times I needed to sell it, but I kept it because I was putting together on the PSA set registry this whole refractor set in a PSA 10. All of these are part of the set, all of them refractors, PSA 10s. I currently am only missing one. I only need one, and it's the Tyson Chandler. You'll see in my past videos, I cannot get that card in a 10. So I'm only missing one. Here's the other bigger end ones. Wade, Melo. I think this last one is Kobe. There you go. So you're thinking, yeah, he bought it for only $470 or whatever. That's amazing. Yes, it is, but I should have sold it. I should have sold it during the peak of the pandemic. I am officially an idiot. You know, like I said, I'm not a guy that has a ton of money, so, and I got a mortgage. I should have sold it. Its high was $286,000. $286,000. I mean, that would have, I could have paid for a chunk of my mortgage, you know, my house. Easy. Oh, man. You can tell in my voice, I'm so bugged by not having sold it. Honestly, it was because I was trying to complete this set. So trying to complete this set has cost me over $200,000. Really, it's like leaving $200,000 on the table. Because now, currently, this card is valued at around $50,000 or $60,000. I think this one would sell right now for $60,000 just because it's so nice, centered up. It's just beautiful. But still, that's over $200,000 less than what I should have sold it for. So it hurts. It hurts. It stung because I should have sold it and then just rebought it later when it went down, because I knew the bubble had to burst. I really did. But honestly, I didn't think it would burst this much. I didn't think prices would drop this much, especially on the GOATs. Like I said earlier, this card seemed untouchable, or at least, I don't know. I thought worst case dropped to 150,000, but no, it's just continued to drop. But the good news, I think it's at the bottom. It's at the floor, and I'm very certain of that. So, and he only has good things to come. I know the Lakers might have an up and down year, but you know, he should remain healthy, and he's gonna break the all-time scoring record this year. You know, as long as he's healthy, he's gonna break it this year. I think he just scored 33 points the first game against the Warriors yesterday. But there you go. Such a beautiful card. Like I said, I'm glad I kept it. Obviously, you know, I didn't sell it earlier. But I wish I would have sold it at the peak of the pandemic. Ugh. So that everyone, is my greatest hobby mistake. I really appreciate you viewing, and honestly, please comment below with similar stories. Tell me your biggest regret in the hobby, what you sold. I'm here for emotional support. All right, thanks again for viewing. Hope you enjoyed this video.